It is always entertaining to have a conversation with a good baseball man, a man that has been around the game for decades. Joe Maddon joining Chris Russo and I here on High Heat. And Joe, first and foremost, thanks for taking the time to be with us. But I want to talk to you about your book that is coming out, which has one of my favorite titles I've ever seen. Try Not to Suck in Life and Baseball, the Book of Joe. Tell me more about that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, great to see both of you. Whenever you do a book, which is the first time I've done this, they said, just wait, the title will come to you. So we just kept going back and forth with a bunch of different quote unquote Maddonisms. And eventually one day, Tommy Verducci just wrote to me and said, how about this? And we had already decided on the Try Not to Suck at Baseball and Life component of it, but then Tommy came up with the Book of Joe. And I didn't feel like it was too pretentious, and I kind of liked it. So it was an evolving exercise, but that's what they told me from the beginning. Wait, and it'll come to you. And I'm pretty pleased with it.
Hey, there you go, Joe. October 11th, lots to do with that. I saw you on ESPN tonight about the shift. We'll ask you some thoughts there. But first, sure. The Angels. I know, listen, you have, the Rays you left voluntarily. I mean, the Cubs, you were there a while, sort of a mutual thing. That, I know you were in a long losing streak, but probably you didn't see that coming. Was that a shock when they let you go a couple of months ago?
Sure, it was. I was really concerned that they were going to come down on some of the coaches. So when Perry came to see me that day, I was actually relieved when it was about me and not the coaching staff. I think it's an excellent coaching staff. I like all of those guys, and I think they're really good at what they do. You're showing Shohei right now, the team itself, there's some really talented people there. We just could not seem to get it together. We hit a pretty tough losing streak right there. Some really difficult late inning losses. Our bullpen was struggling at that time. Whenever a bullpen struggles, that's what kind of happens. But when Perry talked to me, listen, we got, till this day, Perry and I are still, tight. I really like the guy a lot. That wasn't the problem. It was just the fact that he felt he had to do something. And being the manager, it had to be me. But like I said, in the long term, even in the short term, I was glad it was me and not my coaches.
Joe, I want to ask you this because you were back in the day one of the analytical gurus for the Angels early in your tenure there. I know Tampa Bay, when you were the manager there, used it to a certain extent. There's a place in the game for analytics, but there's also a place in the game for that feel and knowing your player. Do you ever regret perhaps opening up Pandora's box with analytics? What is your take on it now? Not
really, because even analytics as people know it now, I was kind of doing things like that pre-analytics in my own prehistoric method. I mean, I used to take stat sheets. I kept my own charts. I compiled things. I presented to managers and the team before every series. I mean, offense, defense, all kinds of stuff. I had been doing that. So when I get to the Rays, you have a bunch of other people able to do what you had been doing more succinctly and more accurately. That was the big thing, was accuracy, because in a one-man operation like that, it's difficult to get your spray charts right or to really evaluate where to pitch somebody because you don't see enough games. You don't see enough games against somebody else. So I've been into it for a while. I still like it. I'm still into it. But my concern and my problem is how it's implemented, how it's presented, how it's gotten to the point where the analytical department has more juice than the coaching staff and the manager. Analytics should be there to support baseball, not baseball supporting analytics. And that's my problem. I want this stuff. I love this stuff. And a lot of it that's really evolved, actually, honestly, a lot of the things that Andrew and I talked about 2006, 7, 8, whatever, when we first began together, and it's evolved into the point where you're seeing it right now. So I don't want to see it go away. I just want to see coaches and managers retain their power and have them have analytical people report to them as opposed to the other way around. I don't want analytical people in the clubhouse as nearly as much as they are. That's the part that gets kind of, I don't want to say dirty, but it gets kind of difficult because people there that really know what they know based on what's presented out of this computer, whereas the guys on the field know what they know because they've done it for 20 or 30 years. There's a balance to be achieved here, and I'm looking forward to, I hope I get to the point where I'm able to work for somebody that's really willing to balance both of these entities in a way that you get real baseball being played again, supplemented by analytics, but not driven by it.
Yeah, excellent point, Joe. We all agree with you on that. And I saw you there on Sunday night. You made a great point about the shift. I don't like the idea that you're going to tell a manager or a coach in football, you don't tell Belichick how to use those 11 guys on defense. So I don't like it. You know, but I understand why. I just don't like it. But you made a great point. The idea now that we're going to make sure that the two infielders are on either side of the bag, and all of a sudden there's going to be a lot of Tony Gwynns and Rod Carews, that's not going to happen. What managers are going to do, they're going to put the big left-handers up there, and they're going to still have them shoot for home runs. And if they hit a line drive to right, they get a single this time instead of hitting into a 4-3. So you made a very good point that it may not have the desired effect of more balls in play because managers are still going to put big left-hand hitters up there and big right-hand hitters up there. I thought that was very interesting. Thoughts on that for a second? Go ahead.
Why wouldn't you do that even more so? I mean, to get rid of the shift, to think that it's going to encourage more singles hitter hitting the ball the opposite field, I just don't understand that. You have one less guy on the pull side for lefties. Now they got this even greater expanse to hit the ball through. You're going to have to really, I think, focus on a second baseman defensively. I've even got to the point, if you have a right-handed pitcher pitching for you that night, that you may have to have your defensive second baseman out there. And if you have a left-handed pitcher out there that night, you may have your offensive second baseman out there that night. It may come down to something like that, but that's a lot of room to cover for a second baseman against the guys, the real power-hitting left-handed hitters. So I think it's going to encourage them to try it even more as opposed to anything less. And to think that you're going to encourage hit and runs and whatever because of that, I just don't understand that thought process, because it's been there the whole time. I mean, nobody's been shifting singles hitters or line drive hitters or, you know, the David Fletchers of the world. I mean, the shift for those guys now is that the shortstop would play more deeply in the hole. That's the shift. What you're still going to see is that second baseman way up the middle or the shortstop way up the middle. And that's not going to go away. And that's pretty much what straight up is evolved into. And people don't even talk about that. What is straight up anymore? So one fewer guy on the pull side means more left-handed hitters trying to hit homers, I think.
Joe Maddon, we always appreciate the insight and the education. Certainly hope to see you in a dugout in a clubhouse again, if that is your choice. We look forward to reading the book coming out on October 11th. Thanks for being with us. Yeah,
Tom Verducci did a really great job, and quickly it's pretty much trying to talk about managing in the 1980s compared to now and contrasting it. There's the book. Wow, look at him. And, wow. And it's really well done. I'm telling you, Tommy did such a good job, and it really applies not only to sports or baseball, but to industry and corporations and companies as well. Thank you.
All right, we are going to try not to suck at baseball or life. Joe Maddon, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.